Hi there, I am Wild Humphrey, the Fact Master. I'll tell you all the things you never knew you didn't know. And I'm back with a fact for today for you. Now I'm going to tell you a short, brief history of one of the most infamous prisons in the world that ever existed. It can only be Alcatraz. Now Alcatraz is in the Bay of San Francisco, away from the mainland, sitting there on an island, and it was a prison that opened on the 11th of August 1934, and it was there to house the criminally insane, all the nutters from Americas who couldn't be controlled anywhere else, murderers, and they done God knows what to God knows who. So they rounded them all up, put them together in one place where they could keep an eye on them, and a place that they said no one could ever escape from. That was a fact. Alcatraz itself could hold 312 prisoners, which when you think about it isn't really all that many. But when you think it's 312 cells with the world's most criminally insane, then it starts telling a different story. The cells themselves were 5 foot by 7 foot high by 9 foot long. So not much room in a cell in Alcatraz, and there were various blocks, and depending on how bad you were, depending on which block you were in, but there was nowhere good. The prisoners actually called it Alcatraz as opposed to Alcatraz because it was so bad. But although many prisoners never ever wanted to go to Alcatraz and kicked and screamed not to go there, there was plenty that did want to go there. You know, the worst criminally insane people in the world, these could only be. They were going to hell on an island and they were looking forward to it. And there's all kinds of prisoners in Alcatraz that are well known. Machine Gun Kelly, the Birdman of Alcatraz, spent most of his time in solitary confinement because what he used to do for the fun of it was kill a prison guard. So they weren't having any of that. Into solitary, and they kept him there for many a year, like over 20 years. But he didn't actually ever have a bird. That's just one of those stories. A bird might fly by, but didn't have his own. The first governor ever to open Alcatraz was a fella called Johnson, and he actually lived on the island right by the prison. He thought, look, you know, I'm the man, I am running Alcatraz. But really, it was run by their prisoners. They generally did what they wanted, although they had rules to stick to. They had to get up at half 6 in the morning, they had to walk when they were told, and so on and so on. And there was always trouble. Once there was something called the Battle of Alcatraz. Now usually when you think of battles, you think of countries, tribes, and goodness knows what, but Alcatraz has its very own. 6 prisoners had tried to escape and they got caught. They couldn't escape, and instead of giving up, they decided to fight for it. They weren't giving up to some jumped up wardens, prison officers in funny looking suits. No way. So they fought like hell. A couple of the prison guards were killed, and it became so bad they had to call in the Marines. And when the Marines came in, well, that was the end of the prisoners. That's a fact. But the most famous, or arguably the most famous prisoner in Alcatraz was Al Capone. And Al Capone, yes, he was a murderer because he organised, set up and carried out, or his men carried out, the St. Valentine's Day massacre in 1929, and for 7 years he was a Chicago mobster. His business card said he was a second-hand furniture dealer. But what caught him out wasn't all the killings. Oh no, it was tax evasion. He didn't pay any tax. The taxman was the one who caught Al Capone, and he was sentenced to 11 years imprisonment in 1931 on the 17th of October. And where did he go? Alcatraz. Now, he didn't have such a good time in Alcatraz. In fact, it was probably only his reputation and his name that kept him alive in there. And after 8 years he had enough and he was out. And he lived until 1947 when he died on 25th of January. But this place is full of all kinds of stories. They said no one could escape. But many tried and many died. But then on this very day, the 11th of June 1962, a guy named Frank Morris and two brothers, the Anglin brothers they were called, those three men in the middle of the night made good their escape. Now Frank Morris, he was a clever guy. He was a nutcase, of course, like the rest of them. You had to be to survive in Alcatraz. But he worked out an escape plan. And it took a long time, many months. And he chiseled away at the wall in his cell, realising that it was weak. Because this place was built on water. So gradually the damp and everything just got through to the brickwork, and it all started to get not so strong after all. And with, a couple of forks and a couple of knives and a spoon, he dug his way out of there. And so did the Anglin brothers, but they were following his instructions. They got out, they made good their escape, and they were never seen again. The governor at the time was a guy called Blackwell. And this story is famously told by Clint Eastwood in the film Escape from Alcatraz, which is a pretty good film as it goes. It's a fairly true account of what happened. Now the government and the officials of the prison say these men died, they drowned, they must have. Everyone else, including me, say they made good their escape and they got away. Because they never found the bodies, ever. From that day to this, they have never found the bodies. And there's been reenactments of this escape since then to see, could they have done it? Well, yes, they could have done it, because man, when he puts his mind to it, can do just about anything when he's got to. And these three men were desperate, because they knew if they got caught they were going to be killed. So my money's on them getting away, and that was a fact. Anyway, that signalled the end of Alcatraz. It was the most expensive prison in the States, and someone had actually escaped, and they, well, what the hell, we can't invest any more money in it. So on the 21st of March 1963, Alcatraz closed. On that morning, the last 27 prisoners from this place called Hell were put on a boat back to the mainland into other prisons. And for a long time, it just sat there into rack and ruin. Then someone had a bright idea. I know, this place is so famous, let's turn it into a museum. And that's what they did. I said, yeah, a museum? No. Over 1.5 million people a year go to Alcatraz, pay for the privilege to be frightened to death. The people show them round, lock them in the cells, lock the gates, frighten the life out of them. They obviously let them back out. It's been the scene also of great films like The Rock, for instance, a really good movie, and others. But you say The Rock in San Francisco and you mean Alcatraz, and that is a fact. But today was the day that Frank Morris and two others escaped from The Rock. The worst prison in the world was hell on earth, and they've never been caught, and that is a fact. But I am Wild Humphrey, the Fact Master. I'll tell you all the things you never knew you didn't know. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching this video. I'll be back with a load more stuff, and remember, I I'm faster than Google, and it's all up here. That is a fact. In the meantime, please subscribe to my channel. There's so much I want to share. I'll see you soon. Take it easy.